You are watching a Two and a Blue interview filmed from the Energy Defenders studio. For any of your solar and roofing needs, call Energy Defenders. We are here with Hall of Fame high school football head coach Pete Lancetta.
How you
Coach
doing,
Pete,
Steve?
congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Oh, thanks. I'm not big on the individual awards. I never was, but it's truly an honor. But I was blessed to be surrounded by some very good players and coaches and administrators. From my time at Hamilton and even now at St. Augustine Prep. So it's team effort, right? That's the way I look at it. That's a tribute to everybody, all the players who played for me, the coaches that coached with me, the administrators, our booster club, parents. Everybody, right? Couldn't have done it without them. So, but it's nice.
I can't think of anyone more deserving of the honor. It's not just football. You're tasked with almost raising, men, young boys. I was talking to someone about this the other day, kind of the impact that you had, just discipline. A lot of stuff comes with being a head football coach. Yeah, and
it does.
Yeah, I think you're very deserving of the honor. How did they present you with it?
Well, so I actually, I was inducted into the state one a few years back when I first went to St. Augustine, which was very nice. My mom came, my wife came. Coach Donahue, my coach, was there. So that was at a all-star game, the North-South game. And so they give you a ring, things like that. And then this one, Coach Folsom, Clyde, is on a committee. And when they looked at it and said, Pete's not in this, and so he was very instrumental in making this one happen. But so it's going to be at a game, that Ocean City Classic that they have there with some teams playing, and it's at halftime. But I won't be here. We're going to Ohio to play our first game. So
really,
yeah. So I won't even be there, but that's okay.
You guys are traveling like that?
Well, we are. Yeah, we did it my second or third year at St. Augustine. We went to play a team near Penn State, and tough game. We lost, but the next day we went. That was the first game for Penn State. They were playing like one of their cupcake teams. Not that they play a tough schedule. I just mean, and they play that sure win team,
Yeah.
So, and we just, the kids went to watch that. They were recruiting one of our players at the time too. So that was pretty neat. Then COVID hit and of course couldn't do it. And then we never, restarted that until we're going to do it this year. So yeah, we're playing a team from actually Canton, Ohio. The Hall of Fame. I've never been there. Most of the kids have never been there. So we're going to turn it into a couple of days, and we're going to visit the Hall of Fame too with the kids.
What a great experience!
Yeah, that should be pretty neat. Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. They're tough. They're good players in Ohio. So
is it just one game a year?
Yeah, so they call it the 0 week. They've added that, so that you can open up before the official start to your schedule. So we've been typically doing that, playing pretty good teams. We played team from Maryland one year. They were really good. We played the team up near Penn State. They were called State College, and they were in the finals for the top, like the St. Joe Prep kind of from Philly. And we lost to them a couple of times. Once they came to us too, though, I think. Yeah, they did. We've always opened up with somebody that was pretty tough. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, how do you find these teams, or is it facilitated by
Well, our AD, he looks around, looks on the forums and things like that. We look, we call, and, I was on the public school side for about 26 years, right? And now I'm on the private school side. So, the publics don't really all want to, play the privates, which I could understand. I was there, so it's tough. So it was tough to find an opening game, we had a 2-year deal with Donovan Catholic. They beat us once, then we beat them pretty good this past year. And so it was tough. Called a lot of schools. Almost had one from New York. Then they backed out. And so this team, McKinley, was looking, and so called them up, and, the rest is history. We're going, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It'll be fun. Yeah, yeah. But it'd be more fun if we win, but, yeah, so we're going to do it.
So one of the things I remember most about playing for you was your motivational speeches.
Yeah.
Not every coach does that. You don't always get like a pep talk. It's kind of, some coaches kind of just let the air kind of get everyone simmering. How did you start like with that?
I don't really know because how I started it, but like I would say this, that we always looked for like an edge, I guess, or an issue to dwell on so that we can, have the guys like basically seething when they came out for the beginning of the game. I remember one time, I think it was Middle Township. I'm good friends with the coach too, but I think they beat our freshmen pretty badly. And so the coaches were sure to come and tell me that, hey, they ran it up. So, we just went off of that, and I told the kids, the rest of the players, hey, they were picking on one of our little cubs here. You mess with the, wolf, you mess with the pack, and it just built up and then the guys come out and explode. But as far as like the speeches, I'm not gonna lie, I probably. I made up a few in my mind. You think about it, like. You mentioned earlier the big buck, little buck speech, right? Then there was one about truly believing with the tight rope walker.
The wheelbarrow. I think my
wheelbarrow.
class was the first wheelbarrow class.
Yeah. Now, being superstitious like I am, believe it or not, like I got like that particular speech, I think, or pregame talk. I think we only won one time when I gave that.
We didn't win that one.
Yeah, I've used it at St. Augustine too. So, but we did win one at St. Augustine using that. But I thought that was a great one because kind of gives you chills at the end. But I didn't make that up. That was borrowed, if you will. Yeah. So, but that was it. We were just looking for an edge, like I even was looking for to get myself ready mentally. Of course, now everybody's heard of that, and sometimes I'll have former Hamilton guys. Some of their sons are playing for me now, but they'll come and stand in the locker room and listen, and it's one of the toughest things to do now. So I don't do it like I used to all the time. It's a big game, then maybe I'll muster one up, but that's one of the toughest things because, I've exhausted them all, so.
Are you still telling the big buck speech?
I can't remember the last time I used that one, but
maybe Canton, Ohio.
I did use the wheelbarrow one. Well, it's tough because it has to fit. Like that time we used it, it fit because like it was a team that was coming after us, if I recall, that was newly like at the top of the on their way up, and we were kind of had been there for a few years at the time,
decades,
and so I made it like they're coming after the old wise ones, of our program, and of course the big buck beat the little
prevails,
buck, right? Yeah, he prevailed. Yeah,
to say it lightly.
So that's how that was. I kind of made that one up.
Did you?
Yeah, that one I made up.
That speech.
Yeah.
I remember being in like 7th grade. Couldn't wait to get to high school so I could come listen to this speech. People talked about that for years.
Yeah.
And I know, even kids that were like younger than me were like just couldn't wait to hear the Coach Pete big buck
That's pretty
speech.
neat. Yeah. It was. Yeah. So it was exhausting. I don't know how much it fired everybody up, but it seemed like it did. But it was great. Time at the Hamilton was a great experience, like it really was. Yeah.
Do you still do the pregame drum roll?
Yeah, we did.
That might be the best part of pregame.
Is that right? You think so, huh? Yeah, we still do that. Yeah, I kind of go out there and lead that. It's a little tougher this year. I got knee replacement, so yeah. But I was ready for the first game and kind of did it on like kind of 1.5 legs, I guess you might say. So I did the jacks too,
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, we do the drum roll.
Well, it's funny because, like in practice and stuff, we always have those beats we do.
Yeah. They still do.
2, 1, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it always ends up getting so sped up.
Yeah.
And it turns into just like,
it all sounds
1,
the
1,
same.
1, 1. But when you do the drum roll, somehow everyone always keeps like perfect rhythm.
Yeah.
And it just sounds great all the time.
Yeah, we still do that. I tried to bring the saying. We used to have what was it? You gotta believe, I think it was, right? Yeah. So, but they already kind of had a saying for a few years, and so it didn't catch on, and I just went with, what they were doing. So,
what is it?
Yeah. They go all. I forget. All in is one. I don't. When they do that, I'm not there. So yeah. But yeah, it's all good though.
So when did you start coaching?
So I started with Coach Sacco, Paul Sacco. Because I went to Hamilton up until 8th grade, and then I went to St. Joe. I transferred, and then had a great coach, Coach Chuck Donahue, still coaching at Southern.
Is he really?
Yes.
Wow.
Southern Regional. And his son Chucky Jr. is the athletic director.
He was in the camp when I went to that Southern camp.
Yes.
He was that young Chuck was.
Yeah.
I played with him.
Yeah.
At that camp. He was cool.
Yeah, he's good dude, man. No, that was.
Was that even younger Chuck?
No, because that Chucky, he's older than you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's older than you. But he had a brother, Jimmy Donahue. Like it could have been him, but anyway, yeah. So and then I after I went to college, I was supposed to play football. I went to Moravian, and then got hurt in an all-star game in the summer before that. Wasn't really the same. So my dad became ill at some point, and I ended up coming home and just commuted to Stockton State College, and it gave me an opportunity to get into coaching. I actually coached baseball first. I coached Lancetta, the sergeant who passed away, of course, the sergeant of the police department. He was, always played for him on the Hawks and everything like that. And so he asked me if I wanted to coach, and so they needed a coach, because he was the baseball coach. So I started coaching baseball, and then Coach Sacco asked me if I wanted to coach the freshman team the following fall. And that's how I got into it. He gave me my first coaching opportunity. Yeah, and then I went to Bishop Eustace. Coach Folsom was there. He was at St. Joe as well with us. And he went and became the head coach at Bishop Eustace. And so he got me a teaching job. I was a business teacher, not a phys ed teacher. And so, yeah. And then ran the defense for him, coached the offensive line. Then he was leaving, and something had happened there, and kind of went sour a little bit. Although he had 3 really good years, though. And
That's a good program.
It was,
traditionally.
It was, yeah. And then he applied for jobs, I applied for jobs, and I got shot down by, I still remember the schools. I got shot down by Gloucester Catholic. I got shot down by Absegami, and I got shot down by Shalleck High School. So they all said no, and that was tough.
You gotta keep receipts.
That was tough, so kept going. And then, Hamilton was, they were down for a couple of years at that point. And so the guy responsible really for me getting the job, because I don't think everybody wanted me there, to be honest with you, because of my St. Joe roots a little bit, and maybe because I was inexperienced, but Dr. Warren Benedetto, the superintendent at the time, and just something about whatever, I said, or the interview or whatever, he took a liking to, and the rest was history. He hired me, and, struggled the first year, and then after that we started winning,
What year was that?
At 1989, I was 26 years old. That was my first head coaching job, yeah.
So you went right from college to coaching.
Basically, yeah. Loved it because I just knew, and that's how I knew, because I was going, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I went to college, even in Moravian, I was going to major in business with no real idea of what I was going to do with it, which was kind of stupid. You know?
That's just like the default. It's like just such a default elective.
I guess. Yeah, and so thought I was going to be an accountant. Mm-hmm. And but when I got that first taste of coaching, I actually, I don't profess that, I don't want to ever quit anything, right? But I never forget, I finally graduated Stockton, and then I was going to be done coaching because I got a job in the business world, and it was at a hardware store, right? So you're thinking I'm going to be a manager, right? So I go there dressed in a shirt, tie, khakis. I never forget. First day on the job, I didn't know what the hell I was going to be doing. They had me unloading trucks and like kind of stacking in the back in the yard and stuff. I'm like, man, I thought I was going to be a manager, right? So needless to say, I didn't last. I'm not kidding you. One day, like I almost started crying. I was like, I can't do this. I just can't. I got to be coaching.
Not with khakis.
So I changed course. I said that, and I had benefits and everything. My parents were real happy. Thank God they were, bless them, but they supported me because I said, and I knew I had to be a teacher if I wanted to coach, so I just rerouted and got hired at Bishop Eustace because I had the degree. You didn't have to be certified. And then I went the alternate route to certification. God was looking over because they just implemented that. It's just so happened. So there was because there was a shortage of teachers. And so I went and went through the program at Rowan, maybe in Glassboro back then.
Yeah,
but,
it probably was.
Yeah, and got certified in business. And that's what allowed me to get the job at Hamilton ultimately. Yeah, was me getting certified, So that was a big thing for me to do. That was good that I did that. But I was at Bishop Eustace at the time when I went through all that. Yeah. So, but that's how it all started, and then
Wow. That's 35 years of coaching, head coaching.
Yeah, well,
Even
26. More, yeah. 26 at Hamilton, and I've been at St. Augustine for 8. So about 34 as a head coach. I was at Rowan for 2 years with my brother, right?
How was that?
How was it?
Yeah.
That was fun. Oh yeah, we had a great time together. He was running. He used to be. He was the defensive coordinator for most of his time there, and then for whatever reason, the head coach ended up switching. And they were good on. They were doing really well defensively. But he just wanted to switch things around, and then I ended up going there coaching the offensive line. He called the offense. I think sometimes I think he wished he was back with the defense, but offense is tough. It's tough calling offense. But, that was fun. But I've been coaching over 40 now, but head coach, 34. This was my 8th year already at the prep, Time flies.
I remember when you took that job. It doesn't seem like 8 years ago.
So do I.
For sure.
So do I, yeah. I could remember, I remember more the beginning years, through the 90s, less in the middle, and now, of course, more recently. It's weird. Yeah.
Have you always been able to, rally the troops the way that you're so good at doing?
Well, it's, there are times we play a tough schedule at St. Augustine. So when I first went there, it was although they won games, it was in turmoil because of the way the previous coaches had left and whatnot. So it wasn't good. And I didn't realize how troublesome it was until I got knee deep and I thought I really made a mistake. I mean, I had already resigned from Hamilton and I was at Rowan for 2 years. So I was coming from Rowan now, But sat up and in the middle of the night, and my wife says, "What's the matter?" And I was like, "Listen, I think I made a mistake," and it was scary because it was change after 28 years, and then all of a sudden you're changing because I was still teaching there too, and now I was going to leave teaching. I retired from teaching too, so it was a big change. But you got to help it to you pull it together, and everybody's not believing in you because they don't know who I am, really. I mean, they heard about me, but, they really didn't know. And you get off to you lose a couple games, and now people are questioning, and so, yeah, I always tell part of some of the speeches or talks to the kids, always got to go back, look in the mirror. You heard me say that before, right? And that's the guy you got to answer to. And even as a coach, adversity's tough. And everything's roses when you're winning, and going out after games and things. But when you go on a 2-game losing streak or something, or you lose to somebody everybody thought you should have beaten, that's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough. And then you worry about losing the kids. So there were times, absolutely, where you go back and you question, man, am I losing these guys, or but you just got like some of my fellow coaches tell me, you just got to do, you've been okay all these years doing it. You got to, you change some things, but there's certain things you just have to believe in and stick with and not deviate from, you know what I mean? And then it writes itself usually,
Can you get into what was going on at that beginning time at the prep where you kind of where you found yourself just like, what did I do?
Yeah, well, there were kids leaving.
Mm-hmm.
There was animosity between the players because they took different sides. The coaches kind of were like let go. And some guys really, because they won games. Mm-hmm. I don't think their schedule was like our schedule is now, but they were really good coaches. They still are. So I didn't know everything that went on. Because it happened late. So I got hired in right around May, like around Memorial Day, right? No, is that Memorial? Yeah. Yeah, Memorial Day, right around there. And so I had one shot to meet with the players before they were leaving from school. That's how late it was. I had to get all the weightlifting program. We were lifting after school because when I first started at Hampton, kids were working on the farms and all that stuff. And so I kept it at that at the beginning because I was working still. I had a job, I was still doing stuff. And but anyway, they were upset about that, the parents, when I met with them, because they were doing everything in the mornings, which now we do.
Before school?
Not before school, but in the summer.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the summer.
Okay.
This was going into the summer. And kids were leaving. Kids were transferring to other places,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to hold it together. And I don't even know what I'm holding together because I really didn't know the kids at the time. So it was tough. Well, Phil Bernozzi helped me a lot because he's from town here. Mm-hmm. Phil was a St. Augustine graduate, so he was there to help with recruiting and whatnot. So he was a big help. And Coach Languadoro coming over with me was a blessing too, So because he retired and he ended up getting a job at Ulma, the sister school. He's the athletic director there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So we both kind of retired from public education at the same time, and he said he would come with me. So that was great, having him there. And then Nicky Crescenzo coached with me, so I did get some Hamilton people.
Some familiar.
Yeah. But so it was tough. And then we went 5-5. Beat Vineland. That's when Pacheco was actually their quarterback.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And we beat them at the end. And then, kids started to believe the weight room was nothing like it was at Hamilton in the beginning. And, kids staying after and all that stuff was not the way it was, when school was in session. So had to pull teeth with that, had in the teens, but more guys out for the team, but, playing different sports and things. And so that was tough. And now we still have kids that play. We have a lot of sports. So, kids play lacrosse, which is great, baseball. We have rugby. Some kids will go play rugby, I'm talking about in the.
That's cool.
Yeah, in the off season. So, yeah, a lot of sports to offer. So it's a little different, but, because at Hamilton we pretty much had maybe some baseball players, that did both. But other than that, there was nothing else. In the spring, track when I took over, right? Then I started getting guys to come out for track, but it was really football in disguise, right?
It was.
Yeah, So, yeah, but They
just introduced lacrosse. I think they just started a lacrosse program.
Well, because we when I was there, we started a game like some silly game, but just to get the kids running around, back and forth. I forget what we called it. We were just talking about it the other night. Coaches went out. But it was pretty dynamic, and the kids were running around, passing a ball back and forth, dunking it in a trash can. That's what it was all about. But at least they were cutting and things like that, So, yeah, we tried to do something. But, yeah.
You talk about losing a locker room. I've never thought of that aspect of coaching. Has that has that happened?
Well, like I said, I thought there were times, and then all of a sudden, both instances I can think of were at St. Augustine, and so and we end up winning the game. So that, of course, makes you feel better, But
you're talking about specifically for one game. I mean, have you ever felt like?
Well, it just you just feel like not just from the game, but just you feel like you lost them, like, you know what I mean? And you're worried that you're not going to get them back again. And, but fortunately, those couple times I could remember that happening, we went on to win into the playoffs.
Yeah. Winning does solve a lot of problems.
It does. Yeah, well, sure, because, you got to understand, when you're winning, I'll take the people who aren't playing as much as they want to. And that's a whole nother thing today, which I'm sure we'll get into. But, and then parents get involved, okay, right? And then the jibber jabber starts, okay? And so it falls on deaf ears when you're winning, because there's nothing, what can you complain about? We're winning, you know what I mean? The team we have on the field must be the right team. Then all of a sudden, when you lose, now, there are some ears open. It doesn't fall on deaf ears anymore, and people start to talk, and such isn't playing. He should be playing here, and whatever. You see, but yeah, losing, it's see, that's a whole thing. Like, with I'm sure one of your, I know you tipped me off to a couple of things, but like the difference between kids in the '90s and today, right? Flat out. The ability to overcome adversity, okay? It's wavering, okay? It's disappearing, right? And it's not all the kids' fault either, right? It's coaches. Some of it's our fault. Parents. A lot of it's their fault, okay, in my opinion. And it's the system. I mean, just look at it, right? So, you're not starting. What do you do? You're not a starter. What do you do? Well, you can quit, okay, right? Which I've always talked about, right? Not doing, right? Because in the long run, you look at the kids who didn't play that much and stuck it out for 4 years. They're the best kids in the world, man, as far as I'm concerned, because it ain't going well for them. But they stuck it out and went through times back in the early 90s that were, I'm telling you, different, much harder than they are today, practices and things like that, right? It's not the same, And those kids stuck it out, and I guarantee you that the majority of them are great husbands, they're great fathers, they're doing well successfully with their businesses or whatever the heck they're doing, you know what I mean? No doubt. Like, those kids are going to be successful because they were able to endure, right? And but now you quit, you go, like for us, you quit and then they'll go play rugby, okay? You'll transfer, okay, right? Not playing, I'll transfer, okay? Which we saw a little bit back in the day, but not now. The portal, all right, we don't have a portal, but we do because the state has made it easier for them to transfer now. You don't have to sit unless you're going into your senior year. So that makes it easier, for the kids to do that. You got to sit before for like 30 days, miss 4 games, 5 games, whatever it is. Well, not anymore. You don't have to unless you're going into your senior year. Another easy route, taking the easier route right there, right? And so, practices aren't the same. No more triple sessions aren't heard of. At least they're not supposed to be, right? Double sessions you're allowed every other day, but there's no more room because in your schedule practice schedule because you got to follow a protocol now, right? You got to go helmets for 2 days. They assume you haven't done anything, which that's ridiculous because all programs are lifting and conditioning and practicing in the summer. And you have to go just helmets for 2 days, and then you can go helmet and shoulder pads, and then you can go full gear. So by the 6th day, then you got 1 week, more of practice. You're supposed to hit and scrimmage, and then the season opens up the following week. So, it's changed a lot. But my point is, they're not practicing 3 times. They're not going through all of that, so it is a little bit easier for them. The team concept is tougher. Okay, get somebody. I'm going to be the blocking back, right? I'm not going to touch the ball very much. Well, they're far and few between those kids. Okay, right? And the parents, okay, right, and especially at a place like ours, okay, right, when they're not playing, okay, right, they're in their kids' ears, and but it's tough, it's tough. So it's just been. It's tough. That's why it's tougher for kids to overcome adversity, in my opinion. I mean, all those reasons, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot more things for them to do. It's more about them individually than it is about the team. Like stats. Stats are like for some kids and they're mostly hearing it from their parents, like, you know what I mean, when it comes to that. But I assure you that when college coaches come through, they don't ask me about their stats, like, you know what I mean, they don't give 2 shits about their stats, right. But try to convince some parents and try to convince some kids. They want to see, because you could be in a conference where the games are all easy and you look like a star, but until you go to their camp, until they watch your film against like really good teams, okay, right? Recruiting's getting tougher and tougher. That's a whole nother thing, the recruiting now. And we got some dudes there like that. I had a kid play at Texas A&M. Yeah. And then he finished up grad school at graduate year at Auburn. A kid went to Vanderbilt. We got somebody now from West Point, is running back at Arizona State. Paid him a big NIL deal. Yeah. Got Brady Small, who's at West Point. Got a kid going to Navy. Now we got a kid who's a junior. He's going to be a senior, and he's got almost 50 offers from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Is that the kid I talked to about the prep?
Maybe.
My wife worked with his mom.
I don't know. Is his name? He's a defensive lineman.
There was a big boy. I think he's one of your offensive linemen, and he was trying to decide between St. Joe and the prep. Mm-hmm. Back
really?
When he was like a freshman, I remember saying, Coach Pete's at the prep. So you got to go to the prep.
Yeah. No, but so, and like now there's so much going on. Like, so, the portal is college football hopefully will never be ruined, but they're making a great effort with this portal, because, kids can go wherever they want, But what's happening is, some kids are going into the portal and they shouldn't be, Yeah. And so, and then they end up losing their scholarship where they were, and then they end up paying for the rest of their college, right? That's an example. That's going on. Yeah. Now they got to cut their rosters to 105. So you have teams, coaches come in, because, we get a lot of coaches because of the one kid. And we got another defensive end who just got offered by the Naval Academy, right? So he's going to blow up soon too. So I talk to these coaches when they come through, and it's like this spring, when they go through spring practice, like for instance, Rutgers had 130 some on their roster. They got to cut that back to 105, okay? Kids are going to lose their scholarships.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. For high school, it's even worse because they're going to take half of what they did. So if they were taking in 24 high school kids, now they're taking in 12. If I'm a college coach and my job is on the line, okay, because, in high school, it's your teaching job that pays you, right? More than the coaching job, right? You're not making much money coaching, but that's their livelihood, right? So, am I going to, if I have an opportunity here and we got to win this year, right? We got to win or we may be in trouble. Am I going to take the kid that's 23 years old, who I saw on film, compete with other kids the same age, or am I going to take a shot on this 18 or 17-year-old kid coming out of high school?
Right. And
that's what's happening, right? So the number of scholarships are shrinking that are available, But, that's a tough thing to swallow, but that's a fact. There's no doubt. And everybody with the rosters cut, there's no more walk-ons really. There are no walk-ons. You're going down to 105. They all have to be scholarship kids.
Is that just like the upper echelon colleges?
The FBS and FCS, like the Villanovas or FCS. Their levels too.
Really?
I don't know if it's gone down to the 2s or the 3s.
Even Villanova, they're...
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They got to get there. But they didn't have a big roster in the first place. So there's different schools and different situations.
I mean, you see it like you kind of see it, but it's like with the Alabamas and the Nebraskas and the Oregon. You don't really see like the Villanovas.
And I don't know how many people know this rule. This is another one. So when you went to a JUCO, a junior college, like a community school, because maybe your grades weren't that as good enough, so you had to finish that 2 years, okay, before you went and do well and then go to a college. Hopefully they take you, right? Okay. But those 2 years counted. So you only had 2 years of eligibility left, right? Okay. No more. Those 2 years don't count anymore. So you can go to a junior college, play 2 years. Now what are you? You're 20 years old, okay? Go to college and be a 21-year-old freshman, right? And then you put in a redshirt year in addition to that, you could be 25 years old, 26 years old playing college football.
That is wild.
So you tell me.
Well, yeah, no wonder that the high school kids don't have as good of a shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Competing against 25-year-olds.
Yeah, so, I tell them all the time, go to a school, you're going to get know what you want to major in, have a good idea, right? Make sure that they have that and that you are going to get the certification you need, right? If there is, certain degrees to get, because some people will say we have that major, but you're not, you can't do the job that you wanted to do because they didn't have the accreditation, let's just say, you know what I mean, in order to certify you in that. So, you got to be careful, but go to somewhere, get that education, can never take that away from you. And then if football works out, great. If it doesn't work out, then so be it. But at least you're going to get that degree, so, yeah.
So you talk about finding the blocking back, and how kids are worried about stats, and it's really hard to get them to buy into like this team idea, because football is really like the ultimate team sport. It really is.
I agree.
And you talk about 1-2 losses being like feeling like the end of the world. It's because you're playing once a week. It's
That's right.
It's not like baseball where you could just flush it and go out the next day and play, or basketball or anything else. Do you think that it's the private school has anything to do, or do you think it's like generational, systematic, like you were talking about?
Yeah.
Or is it like private?
Nah, it's all over. Because I talk to people. It's all over. Yeah, it's the same thing. People going through the same thing, and so it's tough. It's tough. You preach, but deep down, it's in a lot of the kids. I'm not saying everybody now, a lot of kids have bought in, and that's part of coaching now. You know what I mean? You got to get them to buy in. And I'll never forget at pregame, we were playing a playoff game up there, Seton Hall Prep. When we get in the playoffs, we got to play those big guys, up north there. So, and I told the kids, I was like, at a place like a private school, you got kids coming from different youth programs now, right?
Yeah.
They're not used to, like the Hawks. We knew the Hawks were our feeder, and they were doing a lot of the same things and preaching the same things we were.
It was all the same concept.
That's right.
Everything. Yeah.
Exactly. But now you got other people coming to your school, and they're not all taught the same way. They don't have that same necessarily toughness that the Hawks, I thought,
Well, you're not playing next to your boys.
Yeah,
too.
that
You know what I
too.
mean? Like,
That's right, yeah.
Like at the Hawks, I mean, you're playing with your best
Yes.
friends from the
Yes.
time you're like.
Which made it easier.
7.
Which made it easier in high school
Yeah.
because you guys were used to being together and believing in one another. So that is one of the things you got to overcome. And I use that as my pregame. I said I don't believe that. I believe that we can overcome that, and that's why we're here. The whole thing. So I use that as one of the pregames. But yeah. So I think though our kids do. They do. They buy into that, most of them. But, you get some, and then they'll transfer, let's just say. We've lost kids because of that, not getting enough touches or whatever the case might be. So it happens. It's just part of it. It's tough for me to deal with, but, tougher because...
Now, can you adjust your recruiting process to can you see it in a kid who's in 8th grade, in 7th grade? This kid's got heart. Like, this kid will block for it. I mean, could you recruit just a blocking back that you just see a kid who just loves to hit people? And you're like, I want that guy.
Yeah, I don't we don't really when we say recruit, I got a couple guys go to games, and then they'll give me info. You rely on certain guys with something. Every once in a while, I'll go watch somebody, okay, just because that'll help maybe get them to our place to see, So, but to me, if you've been playing, and well, certainly there's some guys that are, that they're dudes, and you get them, the skill guys, the running backs, whatnot. We tend to get real big linemen. We like to run the
Green.
ball.
His last name is. Yeah.
Yes.
Kid's a monster,
he's a
man.
monster. Yeah, working real hard right now, and he's trimmed down. He was 335, 340. Now he's 315.
And he's like 6'8".
6'7".
God.
Yeah.
Monster.
He's big. So he's got some offers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we got some big dudes, but yeah, they're tough kids, but our freshman program, we just try to get in the 20s. If we can get close to 30, then that's good. But what's happened is, because of all the things I said, by the time you get to a senior class, the biggest senior class we graduated, football-wise, not class, but was probably the best team since I've been there. We went 9-2, made it to the semifinals, and we're home, and we lost to Bosco. But we had 18 seniors. That was a lot.
That's not a bad number.
That's
not. Yeah.
But now, typically, we got about a dozen. That's been about a dozen, 14, So it's tough because they end up going to either leaving or going to another sport. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's tough, but that's just the way it is.
So you think it is systematic then?
I do.
The result,
it's all those. Everybody's experiencing the same things. You know what I mean? And so, but overall, it's just the same story, just a different name. Going through it. No matter who you talk to, and the parent thing. That's the biggest thing that's changed. Okay, right? More involvement more, just that they're involved more in a sense where they weren't before. You know what I mean? My dad dropped me off, and if, in youth football, for example, and it was Coach Lasasso, right? And nobody would.
No.
You don't remember him, though, I don't think. It's Lil Frankie's father, Frankie's father. You follow me? And so, because if you went back and if you said something to him about your kid's playing time, he would tell you, you know what? I won't exactly say how he would have said it, but there's the road, there's your son, hit the road, okay, just like that, and that was it. So, but now, but I have my rule is, look, and I say we have a parent meeting and everything. And because here's the thing. You go to parent meeting and you tell everybody, listen, the numbers don't work. Everybody can't play, all as much as you may want them to play. It's very competitive here, the whole thing. If your son has a problem, we're teaching them to turn into young men, right? Boys to men. So I want to hear from him first. My door's always open. I'll talk to any of them. Playing time, whatever. But I don't want to talk to you first. Okay. Now, if he goes home and tells you something, you don't like it, you want a meeting, call the AD and we'll meet. Well, There's more of those meetings than there ever were.
Why do you think that is? I feel like parents are working more and they're almost like less involved in their kids' actual life. And then, you get to like practice, and now all of a sudden, you think they're like overcompensating for something, or does that make any sense? How do you think that the switch just went off like that? Well,
I don't know. Now that could be a result of private school, public school. Mm-hmm. Some public schools. Now some public schools, they're very, very involved, just like they are at our school. But there's some public schools that it may not be because of what you're saying, that they are working so hard, and that the kids got to basically fend for themselves when it comes to stuff like that. But they may be the tougher kids sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Because they are on their own and they're fighting for themselves and whatnot, But I'll be honest with you, the kids don't want their parents coming in.
No,
you know
it's
what I mean? What
embarrassing.
kid wants their parents coming in? They
Yeah.
don't. They don't.
It should be embarrassing.
But the parents, and I understand, the parents care so much, you know what I mean? They want what's best, and they but it just doesn't always work. And when you're in that meeting and you're sitting there talking to them, they're nodding their heads like, bobblehead up and down, agreeing with you because they don't think you're talking about, it may not that you're talking about their son, but it may end up being their son that's in that situation, Even guys playing certain positions, they're starting, but they don't like where they're starting, stuff like that. So, that's entered the picture, these days. Yeah.
That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, but I love our kids. I have a lot of fun, just like I did with you guys. Like it is, it's the same. Like with the kids, you know what I mean. So, but I hope it helps keep me younger for a few more years. Feeling young. Yeah. I know I'm not, but
you look great.
I don't know about that, but. Yeah,
I told this story to you before. You were it was probably like my senior year. You were on a bench press and your shirt had ridden up a little bit. You must have caught me like looking at your stomach, and you were like, "Well, see how you look when you're 40."
Now I say, "Oh, they break my balls," right? And I mean, we break them for each other, the kids, just like I did back then, right? But now I say, wait till you're 62. Yeah, see what you look like.
Yeah. Well, I'm at 37. I'm definitely.
You're not as fast as you were, probably. I'm just guessing, right?
Not even close.
You were one of the fastest guys, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Jump too. Not that it did me any good in football.
So you were with Ike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship. Yeah. Lawrence.
And Jojo?
Jojo was a year older, yeah.
He was a year older than you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
That Delsey game.
That was the best. That was the best game. Do you remember Josh Reimel?
Yeah, I remember the
running
name.
back.
Yeah.
He was the best running back I ever played against.
Okay.
And I watched Albert Young. I watched Dorian Bryan. I played against Andrew Mack. I played against some really good running backs. And man, that kid kicked my ass.
Yeah.
And he fumbled. Remember he fumbled, and I picked it up and ran.
Yeah.
And now I work with him.
Is that right?
I mean, he's so into high school football and football still.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like a fanatic.
Wow.
And it like still drives him nuts.
Yeah.
That I scored that touchdown.
I'll never forget that. Yeah.
He was running down a sideline and gave me one of these and ran me over, like clean over. I knocked him out of bounds, but
yeah.
I mean, he was nasty. Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. But yeah,
they were a good team.
Yeah.
All right. So you talk all right. So we got into like some of the differences from when you started to now. Like, is there like a point is there somewhere you could point to that like switched it, or was it like 90s was different than 2000s was different than the 10s are different than the 20s? Like do you see it like generationally changing, or was there like a point?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the years when I was done. So it was 2000. Things were good. 2001. And it was a rough ending. 2002 going into. So I guess we'd say, once we reached the after 2010. When did you graduate?
05.
05, yeah. I think things were still about the, going okay. But I think it was after 2010, maybe. That's when we started to see.
Is that when they started putting them rules in, the triples and the doubles and how the hell did that even trickle its way down to high school football?
Yeah, well, everything trickles down, right? So they're just, safety and I guess kids. I mean, it's funny because we did those triple sessions, and probably in 2 of the sessions we conditioned, which was probably ridiculous too, to be honest with you. But I mean, thank God nobody ever. We had some dehydrations and stuff like that, but never did anybody get really, really, sick or anything because of it. You know what I mean? But at some point, like, with the concussion stuff, you know what I mean? And that happened. And so that hurt football a little bit. You saw it in the youth football. They were starting.
Are they just diagnosing it more? Like, there's no way there's more concussions now than there were then.
Right. Well, I think, we never coached, my staffs have never coached about placing your head involved in a block nor a tackle. As a matter of fact, we always, went over that all the time about ducking your head and things like that. So, some people used it in blocking, but, you still look at in the NFL today, it's a wonder that there aren't more, because sometimes their heads are down and it's just, nasty to look at.
I mean, they fly.
They do.
They just
happen so fast, and it's just like, but it only takes an instant. You know what I mean?
Well, we talked about my concussion junior year. I mean, I don't even know how that happened to this day. I have no idea how that happened.
That was the scrimmage?
Yeah, against Absegami.
Yeah.
Just went in for a tackle.
Because I was the first one there, but that was scary.
Look up, looking at you. Thought I fell asleep.
Yeah, your lip was quivering. I can remember vividly how it was. But it was scary. One of the scariest things I saw, to be honest with you. But, and so they're just trying to make the game safer, which I think they have, You bitch about some of the calls, like in the NFL and stuff like that, but you know what? They're going to err on the side of caution, and so.
Have you noticed the difference in the injuries? Like, since they put these policies in place, like, are people getting injured less? Is it working?
I don't know. I don't know what the studies indicate, but I just believe we've been fortunate over the years, like, the teams I've been because of the weightlifting program. I mean, I still make it. They can play other sports, but if you're not playing another sport, your ass better be lifting. You know what I mean? And that, first and foremost, that was for prevention of injuries. And I thought, for the most part, over the years, I can't really recall. Every once in a while, you get a knee. You know what I mean? That's tough because a lot of times they're not even getting hit.
Yeah, the ACL is terrible.
Yeah, it's the cutting and whatnot, but I think that the squats and whatnot have helped to prevent that. I've seen a lot of times where kids got bent and popped right up, and I swear, it was because of the squats. At least that's what I'm telling everybody. So I think that really helps a lot. And then you see the kids that don't really work that hard, and sometimes they're the ones that do get hurt. And then you point that out to some guys, like, you know what I mean? Hey, Johnny didn't really bust it, during the summertime, and maybe that's why that happened. So who knows? But we keep lifting them up.
You get a lot of confidence from lifting too. It's not just it's not just the muscular gain. It's like you just feel like you could just tear someone's head off.
It's a lifetime thing for you, skill, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I don't do anywhere near the way. I just do dumbbells and things like that. But we don't have like a phys ed program. We have our gym class is the incoming freshmen learn how to lift. We have a lifting class. That's what I teach now. I'm not teaching business, but it's myself and the baseball coach. And we also have one upper level class. But so the young kids come in, and whether they lifted before or not, we teach them from scratch. And, we try to preach to them, right? The baseball players, the basketball players, we have ice hockey, really good ice hockey program. We have a great lacrosse program. And so we preach to them, no matter what you're doing, right? The weights will help you, And not all of them buy into it, even when they're, freshmen. A couple lazy ones, they just are, they're still, it's going to throw off my shot, or it's going to make me too tight. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? But, but some kids, they get after it. And they're typically the successful kids in their respective sports too. Kids who have the work ethic, you could just tell.
Yep.
Like lacrosse players, I go to the coach and tell him, yo, such and such works his ass off. He goes, oh yeah, he's a good one, you know. And they get it, like, you know what I mean? They get it. But you still have so many kids who they're just like, you know, going with the flow and, you know, taking the easy route and thinking, well, because, you know, like I was good on youth. I'm on a travel baseball team, which is another story in and of itself, because daddy could have went and started his own travel team, or they're paying money. No shit. Coach tells you you're going to be the best second baseman, you know, wherever. And you know, you're going to go to you're going to college. You're definitely then all of a sudden they go and they end up getting cut at our place, like, you know what I mean? Because it's no joke, and they got cuts, basketball cuts, you know. Thankfully, we don't cut, but you cut yourself if you don't go to the workouts, you know what I mean? But, yeah, but the kids who buy in, you know, they get the most out of it, and they're typically making the team, and they're the ones that are excelling in their sports, yeah.
That kind of so I did give you like a little bit of a heads up of what we were talking about. That kind of
now you're gonna hit me with the things I'm not ready for.
Well, no, I'm sure you're ready for. But you talk about like the kids that are really bought in, that like their work ethic is really hard, and like, so I feel like for like just a young kid, who's playing football, we'll call it, a lot of their identity is kind of based around these sports that they're playing, you know, and then they go to college and maybe they don't play football. Maybe they're not the best football player on the team, but they play in high school. Yeah. But they're not big enough, they're not strong enough to go to college.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, or have you talked to anyone about like the psychology of a student athlete as he transitions from being this like 3-sport athlete to nothing? Or do you have any experience with that?
No. You know, I mean, some kids know already, like coming out of high school, that they don't want to play anymore. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, they don't want to play anymore. But they stuck with the program, you know, for 4 years. And so I don't know, you know, what that would be, you know, as far as, but to me, any sport really, I mean, kids should be involved in sports. I mean, there's no doubt. Or some other activities, if it's not, you know, an instrument or something like that, I think is awesome, you know, anything. But they got to be busy. I mean, nowadays especially. And I don't mean playing on PlayStation or whatever the hell the gaming thing is now. You know, I'm talking about like a sport, you know, or an activity. Because, you know, it takes discipline to do it right. You know, if you're going to do it right, you develop work ethic, even whether you're playing an instrument or playing football or you know, my daughter playing lacrosse, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, you got to work at it to be the best that you can be. You may never get to be a full-time starter, but your goal is to be the best that you can be. And if you have that work ethic, then, you know, you got a better chance of being successful.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like I said, I coach the thing that, you know, while you love to win and all that stuff, it's really the most satisfying thing is like when I see you in a grocery store and you got your kids hanging from the cart and they're, you know, and your wife's with, that puts a smile on my face. I look on Facebook, I see Jake Hosko, right, and his wife and a beautiful daughter, which doesn't look anything like him, you know, but that makes me happy, like, you know what I mean? And not that I've taken credit for it, but it's just like, yeah, he did it, you know, in high school, and he's doing it in life, and that's what it, you know. That's what it's all about to me, really, in the end. Like, you know, in the moment you want to win the game, you know, you lose, you know, you're crushed, but it's not what it's all really about, right? It's about developing that work ethic and the discipline to be as successful as you can be. And there, like I said, and I still say it, the kid who hangs around and kind of sees the writing on the wall but still sticks it out, he's aces in my book. Like, you know, because that's, especially today, because that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. But that's overcoming adversity, in my opinion.
That's a really good point. that you do build these tools to kind of figure out how to get through life with sports,
well, sure,
or activity.
Yeah.
You know, I think what happens for some student athletes is they got to figure out a way to like harness that energy to something else positive.
Well, listen, even the football players that go away to play football. Right. Listen, you were the star, you know, where you were at, and all of a sudden you're trying to make, you know, nowadays you're trying to make the team.
Yeah.
You know, and keep your scholarship or whatever, you know, whatever's going to happen because
it's different. Going to college is just different.
Sure.
I mean, you're morning to night scheduled. You don't have any friends with you. You don't know anyone around you. It's not.
It's tough. It's
a
job.
It's not as fun. Yeah, no. It's not as fun.
It's a job. There's no doubt. It's a job. I don't care if you're Division III, II, all the way to the Alabama.
No, they treat them all the same. Yeah.
They're, you know, because those coaches, that's their livelihood. They're getting paid, you know, to coach and, you know, do all those same things. They talk about all those same things, but the winning is more important on college level than it is the high school level for coaches. Mm-hmm. Not in every part of the United States, but you know, Texas. If you don't win, man, because they're getting paid to coach in Texas.
Oh yeah, in high school.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, basically, yeah. It's a little different, I hear. Yeah, but you know.
Wait, how long till the NILs come down to high school, and then you start getting like local companies asking for sponsoring these kids?
I'll be done by then, dude. I'll be done.
Can you imagine?
Nah, I can't.
Yeah.
Nah.
I shop at Bagliani's.
Yeah. God forbid. I hope that doesn't happen. But they're already ruining things. Trying to anyway. But college football is still, it's pretty neat. I mean, I love it. I love watching college football.
Who's your team?
I've always been a Notre Dame fan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've been a Notre Dame fan.
I almost had it.
I'm sorry?
I almost had it this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Who'd they beat in the semifinal game? I thought they were going to lose that game.
They beat Georgia, right?
Was it Georgia?
Yeah.
I thought it was more of a local team.
Nah, they beat Penn State in the quarters.
Penn State.
That was in the quarters.
Yeah, I thought Penn State was going to win that game. Penn State should have won that game.
The quarterfinal game, I think it was.
I thought that was a semi. I thought that was the game before the national championship.
Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Maybe
that was a great game. Yeah.
Maybe it was Georgia first.
Mm-hmm. I think it was.
Penn State.
Yeah. They do have cool jerseys. That gold. No one has that gold like that.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a fan. You know what I mean? Because back in his day, he worked on a farm. They owned a farm. Not like farms today, though. They weren't making a lot of money back then. And no TV, so they listened to the Notre Dame games on the radio. So, and he became a fan, and so I became a fan, and that's how it is. Yeah. Oh, they kind of offered our defensive linemen, but they're not hot and heavy on them yet.
Do you get to like talk to their coach?
Yeah, the head coaches.
Wow.
Some come in. Yeah, like Frank. So Franklin's been to our school twice. Of course, Shiano's been. The guy at Texas A&M came in at the time. Jimbo Fisher. He flew in.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've Manny Diaz from. He was at Miami. Now he's at Duke. He flew in. Yeah, we get some guys. Oh, Sherrod Moore from Michigan came in this year. Met him. Yeah.
That is awesome.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. And the kids all get a kick out of it too. The young, the other kids.
Do you get like starstruck a little bit?
Not really.
Can you tell like does the coach just
they're all
like
pretty cool
permeate out of them? Or are they just laid back?
Nah.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. They're normal.
Just
normal
dudes.
coaches.
Just dudes, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're all right. Bill O'Brien, who was in the NFL, he's at Boston College.
Yeah.
He came in.
Oh, maybe Bill Belichick will come check you out.
He went up to the North schools, but he didn't come to us. But the guy Mike Lombardi, he was in the NFL with him. Yeah, he's their they're having he's their general manager, and these schools are now getting like financial people. Like people to do for the NIL stuff.
Yeah.
They have to get somebody that's like a business guy on their staff. He's not a coach, but he's involved in that.
Is there a cap to any of that stuff?
I don't know.
That is a wild thing. Like that is just.
I mean, look at some of those quarterbacks have gotten millions, right? The kid from USC got millions. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's crazy.
Cap. I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if they're like staying in college just to like keep the money. You would think some of them are getting paid more than like a rookie contract.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, yeah, no, I'll stay.
They are. So I don't know how all that works. Howie's got it figured out, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. How about them birds?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing right now.
Well,
He's letting them go left and right.
Yeah.
Let them fly. I like CJ GJ a lot. That really upset me that he let him go.
Yeah.
He's a hitter. He's just got a bad attitude.
Yeah.
He's just a mean dude. I love him.
Yeah. I'm glad they got the linebacker.
Yeah.
I was happy about that. I was hoping for the one defensive lineman, the Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Williams? He had a good year.
Yep.
A really good year inside. But, we'll see.
Yeah.
Those guys, like, they got some defensive ends, right? They picked a couple guys
Yeah,
up.
just guys, though.
But you look at it like if Davis, or not Davis, he's got to step up.
Yeah. Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter, though. Jordan Davis got to step up a little more.
A little bit, yeah.
I think so.
He's
But
a big
he
boy,
will.
man.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Well, they finally go to the SEC and get the Georgia kids, get the Alabama kids,
Yeah.
and they're coached well and they're dudes, man. That's why they're the best, year in and year out. But but like if you get like Carter inside, they got to double him, so that's leaving you one-on-one on the outside.
Yeah, anyone's going to be good.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got a better chance to be successful with him inside, playing like he did this past year.
Yeah, he's a
because he was in shape.
He's a beast, man.
I mean, one game he played 77 snaps out of maybe 80 or some goofy. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But hey, the play he made to get to beat Washington. Or was it Washington? What was the one he got the sack?
L.A.
Or
the
put
Rams?
the pressure on. Rams, L.A. It was the L.A. Rams. Yeah. That was huge.
I like his little when he knows they're going to spike it and he tries to intercept it.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, man.
Yeah,
he's something. But yeah, good stuff.
All right, Coach. Well, we have a segment called Dumb Thing of the Week.
Ooh.
I ask everyone. I'll ask you. What is the dumbest thing you've seen this week?
All right, let me see. I don't want to get political.
No, it's fine. We get political probably way too much.
I might have to.
Okay.
But no, my first thing, when you first wrote that, the first thing that came to my mind was not this week, though. But like in coaching, believe me, I hate to second guess coaches because, believe me, I'm far from, I've made my bonehead calls. You know what I mean? But the one I'll never get over is the Super Bowl between Seattle and the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
On the goal line.
Just get the ball to Marshawn. Just give it to him.
And this is no secret that I like to run the ball, but you're getting it. He's getting it all 4 times.
Yeah.
On wherever we're at, he's getting the ball 4.
That's a touch point. I mean, that is his.
If we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose with me giving him the ball 4 times.
Absolutely.
But I just never understood that for the life of me.
I had a Super Bowl block that if he would have scored that touchdown and they converted, I would have hit big.
Oh no!
I was counting my money already.
I bet there were a lot of people like that.
Oh man,
yeah,
dude.
But that's first thing comes to mind. As do some of my calls too. Believe me when I tell you. So,
as do all of our calls.
Yeah,
we've all had some bad calls.
But this week, I gotta say, I know people don't think this, but when I talk to people, I'm in the middle. Okay, right? There's goofballs on both sides.
Absolutely.
And they both also have good points, but. The military screw up with the leaking of the to the wrong people today, I guess, or happened last week, but it came out today. I mean, the fact.
Can you enlighten me on this?
Well, yeah, there was a military mission that occurred, I think, against Hamas last week, last week it was, so. During the planning stages, the powers to be, were going over the plans and whatnot and talking, but they were doing it on a I don't want to say their cell phone, but it may have been their cell phone, but on on an unsecured means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so somebody was ended up being invited to it that was not supposed to be there, and thankfully it was an American, and it was a journalist, and he came clean and did not put all the things that was said, but they were talking about the mission, and it was ahead of the actually carrying out the mission. So these military people's lives could, if that fell into the wrong hands. Yeah, it's one of the dumbest things that has ever happened, from a military standpoint. Yeah. And so just unfathomable. It's just.
Yeah. Well, that certainly qualifies as a dumb thing of the week. That's for sure.
I don't want to get political.
No. Not at all.
Like I said, they both have. There's idiots on all sides. You know what I mean? These days. Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
Coach Pete, thank you so much for coming down.
Did I talk too much?
No, you were awesome. That was great. It's always a pleasure to just sit down and get to talk to you for a little bit.
Anything to help you. What Coach Shabilia and Lou? What they used to call you Stevio? Was it Stevio?
Yeah, Stevio.
Stevio.
Stevie Nicks. I got Stevie Nicks a lot.
Stevie Nicks.
Chris Sacco gave me that one. Stevie Nicks. Yeah. Maddie Sylvesti called me Stevie Nicks.
Well, listen, they were good times, man.
Yeah,
they were good times.
They were the best times.
They were fun, man. Good memories.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Again, congratulations on the honor of Hall of Fame.
Well, you were a part of it, buddy. You're a part of that.
Cool.
Yeah, everybody that played, man, coached, all that stuff. It's the whole community, right?
Yep.
That's how you get it done. Teamwork.
On that, thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.